Hello and welcome to WhiteHat Riddles. I'm Angel.
I'm Krasi.
And today we're going to talk about OT security. Our guest today is Dan Ehrenreich, who has a long experience in the field, and he's going to help us to find the differences and similarities between OT and IT security.
I think Dan has been with OT security more than me and you have been in IT security, but that's an interesting topic. Everybody is concerned nowadays about critical infrastructure, how to protect power plants, the automotive industry. Dan has a lot of knowledge in the industry, but let's talk about OT security.
Hey Dan, we're glad to have you here. Can you say a little bit about yourself and what brings you here today with us?
So thank you very much for inviting me for this event. A little bit about my short background. I started in the engineering about 45 years. In the past 35 years, I'm purely in the area of industrial control systems for water, electricity, oil and gas, and broad range of projects all around the world. And since 2010, when the famous Stuxnet incident happened, the world started to look at industrial cybersecurity. So May 2010 is the formal starting date, like the birthday of the industrial cybersecurity. And at that time, I was working for Siemens, and instantly when this incident happened, every employee had to learn cybersecurity. I was there, and started let's say over 15 years ago. And in the past 10 years, I'm self-employed, vendor independent. I don't promote any product. I bring knowledge. I do consulting, I do teaching in universities, in big companies. Next week, I start a 40-hour class in Israel, and they did 40 hours in Morocco, teach in Philippines, Singapore, everywhere, and that's what I enjoy to do. So please count on me that I bring you a lot of knowledge in the area of industrial cybersecurity.
Dan, that's great. You have a lot of experience in the industry. We have more experience in IT, and you have more experience in OT. I would like to discuss about what's the difference between IT and OT, because a lot of people are confused, and they're talking about IT security when in fact they would like to secure the OT part, the industrial control systems. What's the difference between the two? I know that IT is mostly about internet protocols, TCP/IP, standard internet communication. How does it work with OT?
So first of all, it's a good question. Every organization, I like to call it physical organization, physical process organization. They have an IT team and they have an OT team. And don't be surprised that the IT team is 50 times or 100 times larger than the OT team. I want to tell you that there is a huge shortage of experts in the area of OT cybersecurity. Someone told me million jobs around the world, but there are not enough people who learn this topic. The big difference between the IT cybersecurity and the OT cybersecurity, the major difference, and there are many differences, but the major one, that the IT cybersecurity is protecting the CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. When it comes to the OT, many people, including the big Gartner, are confusing what to say about. Some say, we all agree that data confidentiality is not critical. So people say IAC, AIC, and all kind of rotation of letters. I was not happy about it. And a few years ago, I introduced the term SRP. SRP stands for safety, reliability, and performance, because safety is always number one, reliability is number two, and availability and integrity are hiding under the reliability, so all is good. Another difference is that the size of the system, how many points in every organization have many thousands of points, meaning users, desktop computers, and others. In the area of operational technology system, the numbers are much smaller. Okay, that's the reason why there are many IT people and very few OT people. Another difference is quite a sad story that I tell you, that the age of the equipment, the servers, the personal computers, the laptops, the mobile phones, are in average of 3 to 5 years in every organization, every country. I think these are the numbers. In the area of OT zone, don't be surprised. The age is the 20 years is young, 30 years is average, and 40 years is old, legacy, but not retiring. So the age of the equipment, and what does it mean? That because the equipment is legacy type, the 20, 30 years ago, so no matter what kind of cybersecurity measures you want to bring, antivirus, firewall, TCP communication, they are not compatible. I would say that probably 80% of the installations are worldwide are legacy type installations. So what does it mean? It means that we need to deploy a creative and adapted solutions for operational technology systems. Okay, so these are I would say in briefly, these are the differences related to the number of attacks. I don't have to tell you that how many attacks are in the IT zone. It may be thousands per day or tens of thousands per day. You will be surprised that in the area of OT, the numbers are very, very small and people don't believe. And I want to tell you bravely that the total number of attacks which are directed to, and I want to say it accurately, directed to harm the industrial process, not ransomware, not stealing data, not encrypting, not manipulating data, but manipulating the process. The total number of such attacks worldwide is a 2-digit number. And maybe
okay.
this is the reason why there are not too many people who are involved in OT cybersecurity, because there are truly not too many attacks. And I want to be very accurate here. Everybody knows the Colonial Pipeline attack, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Colonial Pipeline attack shut down the supply of gasoline for 6 days. Mm-hmm. So people consider it as an OT cyber attack. No, it was not an OT. It was a standard IT ransomware, not related absolutely to the OT. And the decision to shut down the supply of the gasoline was a management decision for whatever reason, right or wrong. But so you see many differences, which means that to deal with OT cybersecurity, you really need to have in-house expertise or access to people who can teach organizations how to protect it correctly.
But how do IT and OT teams collaborate between each other? In Soul Cyber, you know that we're dealing with vulnerability management, penetration testing. Very often, we work with some, for example, power grids or oil and gas industry companies. And usually what we do, we go through the attack surface. We scan all the public-facing assets, domains, applications, and so on. Then we dig deeper. We go for the network scanning for each individual network, for the DMZ locations, and so on. And then we discover that there is some remote locations which are IT operations for operational technology rooms. So it's IT infrastructure helping to get access to the OT part and to manage the OT part, to get some reports, for example, about the gas waste, about the emissions, or maybe to send some reports, to send some instructions to the OT team. So it serves the OT part of the infrastructure, but it's IT managed. So this is what we can scan with the traditional vulnerability scanning still. And then when it comes to the actual OT, people are always very cautious. They would not provide access. They would not provide the IP addresses, the identifiers, so that you can carry out a proper security assessment. So usually it's like, whoa, you scan something, you don't see anything, you start talking to the people on the other side. They don't want to provide you with access to carry the security testing, the security assessments.
So let me surprise you with a nice story. About 10 years ago, I wrote a short post. When IT and OT cybersecurity people will drink coffee together, and you can find it on the website. And I ended this post never, and that's the way it should be. Why? Because there is so much difference between the IT and the OT. So much difference. And biggest problem that organizations with, forgive me, all the CTOs and CIOs and CISOs who listen to this presentation, please, I apologize up front, but I must say that the biggest problems are created by the fact that IT approach is deployed in the OT zone. And I can tell you, many people are talking about a penetration testing, right? Mm-hmm. I say penetration testing can be done in the IT zone. You don't need to do penetration testing in the OT zone. Why? And I'm going to surprise you again. At the moment, the attacker, whether through internal attack or external attack via the internet, managed to arrive to the OT zone meaning HMI, PLCs, engineering stations, and so on, the game is over. The game is over. So why should I do penetration testing? I know that the game is over. What I prefer to do is to prevent people for reaching the OT zone. We all remember the Purdue model, right? The Purdue model is 0 are the sensors, 1 are the PLCs, 2 are the HMIs, 3.5 is the DMZ, and so on. So people can do penetration testing for the IT up to the DMZ. There is no need to go below, because if you go below, so what? You penetrate to the PLC, you can shut it down. You penetrate to the HMI, you can shut it down. So what I say is that the best things that organizations, electricity, oil and gas, water, transportation, food and beverage, medical pills, so on, the best they can do is to do 4 things. How to protect the operational technology? Very simple 4 things. We can do more, but 4. Number 1, physical perimeter security. Like you protect your home, you want to protect that nobody will enter, right? Second, network segmentation. Segmentation between the IT and the OT. Never build a flat network. Okay. Now, number 3, vulnerability assessment. Check where you have a vulnerability in the physical protection, in the HMI protection, in the PLC, in the sensor. I can tell you, you can bring all the cybersecurity solutions. If you allow me to access the temperature sensor on the boiler for 3 minutes, I tell you what will happen. And you can have all the cybersecurity machine, software, hardware, expensive. Allow me to go your sensor for 3 minutes and you will see the OT process will shut down. So we need learn. So number 3 was vulnerability assessment, and number 4 is training and cyber security drills. They're like tabletop exercise. Why it is so important? In the IT area, if you have an attack, you start working 1 day, 2 days, you negotiate, you think. Beautiful. In the area of OT, if you don't take action in 1 or 2 minutes, the generator may burn,
boom,
the boiler can explode, and people might get killed.
True.
So trainings and drills, that's what I tell people. Do training and drills to all your team, operators, process engineers, IT people, and managers. All must understand what is all about OT cybersecurity and how to prevent. Why? Because what can happen? For number 1, operation outage, right? Shut down the water, shut down the electricity, short outage, not nice, but you don't have water, you don't have electricity, not so bad. Number 2, damage to machinery. If you burn a transformer, you burn a generator, you explode the boiler, it will take you several days or weeks to repair that. And number 3, hurting people.
Yeah.
So what I'm worried about, hurting people, damage to machinery, and outage. That's what I'm worried 24 hours per day, 7 days a week, that my customers will have no harm to people, no damage to machinery, and no outage.
But this can happen if you carry out manual penetration testing, for example, if you're using more offensive approach when you are probing the security in OT. I see some people replicating the environment. For example, they get in the power grid, they create a full replica of the environment with all the valves, sensors, low-level devices, operating devices, and then they carry out penetration testing simulations over the replica environment. This is what I see. And then based on my experience, of course, open to hear your opinion on this one, I see that many people are successfully detecting weaknesses, vulnerabilities, and potential malicious traffic using passive vulnerability scanning, using traffic interceptor, that they're putting it inside the network and just sniffing the traffic, and this proves to be very effective.
I tell you, beautiful. I like that you mention it, but I want to be a little bit careful. When you do what we call digital twin or replica, you usually don't replicate the entire system. You take a piece, a zone, or a limited part. So it's not so perfect. Second, I'm telling people, and all experts agree, that when you are doing inspection on a replica system or digital twin system, you cannot call it penetration test. The definition of penetration test, although people like to hear it, people are happy about penetration test, but you are doing a deep inspection. Penetration testing you are doing on a live system. Like you take your body, you go to a surgery, right? That's penetration testing, because you take your live body and somebody is working on your body. That's penetration. When you build a digital twin, you can call it a deep inspection, you can call it learning, you can call it vulnerability detection, all things. But the term penetration testing is related 100% to the IT zone. Not everybody will agree to that. I know people have different opinions, but that's the reality.
And is it possible to actually test systems while they're live? For example, right now in Europe, critical infrastructure is going under the NIS2 directive, and a lot of people will have to test essentially throughout the whole factories and so on. Is it safe to test them while they're live? And just because, a lot of people who are listening right now who might not necessarily be familiar with this, but they see on the movies things like tests in the movie Chernobyl, for example, how things can go very wrong when you just do a wrong test. How is this relatable to what's happening now?
So I tell you, it's very important to do. Remember, I said three things: physical perimeter security, check your secure fences, check your guards, check your cameras. Who is coming in the midnight? Second, network segregation segmentation. Use a DMZ, use a firewall, use a jump host server. You don't need to do penetration testing for that. Just take the firewall and check if the firewall is correctly defined. And do it offline. You don't need to check the firewall when it's in the system, okay? So a vulnerability assessment is important. I personally tell people, I don't need to do penetration testing. Please show me the blueprint of your factory, show me the zones, show me the criticality of each zone, and I will tell you where are the problems. Mm-hmm. So truly, I believe it is not necessary to do penetration testing. Why? Because if you have a vulnerability in the IT zone and the DMZ, so what? If you have experience, you penetrate in 10 minutes. If you don't have experience, you penetrate in 20 minutes. But you will do it, and you reach the OT zone. At the moment you are in the OT zone, game over. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some people ask me, does it make sense to put an antivirus on the HMI? What do you think? You put antivirus on the HMI, right? And I say, why you are putting antivirus on the HMI? He said, wow, antivirus is important. Okay, let me ask you. Antivirus is protecting you against known signatures, okay? Second, you must update the antivirus every week, every 2 weeks. How you are going to do that? Is the HMI connected to the internet? Absolutely no. So every 2 weeks, you are going to bring a USB and plug a USB to the HMI to update the antivirus. Why you are doing it? Not necessary. At the moment the attacker reached the HMI, game over. Don't worry about. He will destroy your factory for sure. So you don't need to do that.
But this points me to my next question, actually, because you mentioned antiviruses and traditional security measures, which are also applicable in the OT environment. So let me come back to the topic that a lot of legacy systems are being used, a lot of legacy operating systems. Quite often I see Windows 7 and even Windows XP operating systems being used in OT environment. And then I always discuss with the people, is this safe or not? So one approach is stay where you are, use the legacy systems because sometimes they receive additional support. Usually those organizations like military organizations, oil and gas, they usually pay, for example, Microsoft for extra support, even though, for example, Windows XP is not supported anymore. It's still widely maintained. For some organizations, they still get security updates even as of today. So when I hear people talking about, that's a Windows system, everybody can crack it in 5 seconds. This is not the case. In most cases, those organizations, because of their critical importance on society, they receive additional security updates which the regular citizens will not get. And the private companies, they will not get those security updates. You have to pay huge amount of money to get them. But then it means that a lot of organizations in oil and gas, for example, they're not able to change the infrastructure. It will require billions of US dollars investment to change the to modify the infrastructure. So what should be the advice for those organizations? Should they starve and try to upgrade, try to migrate to a more modern environment, or should they stick with the legacy environment as long as they get the additional security updates?
So you raised the most painful question. Most painful. I'm not saying expensive. I'm not saying this. Painful. Why? If you ask people why you are using the XP, and they tell you, well, what should we do? To upgrade? How long it will take? You know how much time it require, how much effort required to upgrade from XP to Windows 10 or Windows 7? Tens of thousands of dollars for each endpoint. Why? Because it is not my home PC. It is an industrial system. And I can tell you that the amount of testing required to change the operating system is so expensive and difficult that people say, well, do it after I retire. In the meantime, it's okay. So I tell you, second topic I want to say, we must tell our customers every change in the software is the risk to operation safety and reliability. It's not like this morning I updated the Chrome, I updated the Windows, which I'm doing doing for my kids and for my grandchildren. It's very simple. I cannot do it in the factory. Why? Because at the moment you change any software, it can be operating system, it can be application program, it can be antivirus, whatever, you are not sure if the system will return to operating to safe and reliable operation. I always tell people, okay, please sign for me on this white paper. Beautifully, right? I'm confident that after upgrading the Windows operating system, the system will operate safely and reliably. Can you sign?
Yeah.
No.
That's the problem, right?
Why we are not signing? Because we don't know. We don't know.
What about Dan? What about a specific case right now in Europe? There's a lot of, I would say, emphasis on improving the security of healthcare systems. And in healthcare, you have a combination between all of these, right? Doctors use modern software at the same time are connected with old machines, and they have to pull up, let's say, their patients' details from the internet because, you have to take their information from the general kind of database of the government, right? So this, for me at least, presents a unique situation, how to secure healthcare system.
I don't think there is a solution to that. And maybe never will be a solution to that. Or at the moment you want convenience, you have your computer on the half of the screen, you want to see the patient. On the other screen, you want to connect to the internet to consult with ChatGPT about what's the problem of that person. And you connect all these things together, for sure you create risks. So what I can tell you is it is required to study the architecture and do what we call a beautiful term, BIA, business impact analysis. What can happen? Let me ask you, what can happen if you leave your home and you are not locking the door, right? You know what can happen. What can happen if you leave your car in the midnight on the street and you are not locking the door or maybe even leaving the door open? Okay, you make a analysis, you know what can happen, and so on. So the only thing I can help this organization do business impact analysis. and try to minimize the convergence. You probably heard the term IT-OT convergence, right? Everybody's talking about. Try to ask people, what does it mean? 10 people will give you 30 answers. What does it mean, convergence? Convergence between people, IT and OT, they drink coffee together, beautiful. Convergence between technologies, we are using TCP here, TCP there. Convergence between operating systems, yes, I have Windows in the IT zone, I have Windows in the OT zone. And major problem. So I'm in the group of 62443, and I propose to people to delete the term IT-OT convergence and use an alternative term, secured IT-OT interfacing. Because convergence, it means like you connect your apartment with the apartment of the neighbor, right? You remove the wall, you converge together. It's bad. When you say secured interfacing, meaning that you have your front door, they have their front door, and if you want to talk each to other, each one need to open the lock, and then you can talk each to other. Okay?
Yep.
So these are the main problems that I'm teaching people. Be aware of what can happen, because once you are aware what can happen, there is no perfect solution. Don't expect that anyone have a magic solution. You can do passive scanning, beautiful, but it is not perfect. You can do active scanning, which I not recommend because you may crash the system. Okay. So nothing is perfect, but manage the risk.
I think we live in a very interesting times where you still have a lot of legacy systems using Fortran. A lot of experts are still using Fortran to develop instructions for the low-level code, for the low-level operational equipment. At the same time, we use agentic, we use MCP servers to develop integrations in 2 days' time, and to connect many different data sources from across the internet, just random sources out there, to connect them and work with the data without even knowing what the model is doing for you, without even understanding how the model digests the information for you. So you have on the one side very specific, very clear set of instructions, and nothing can go out of this predefined set of instructions. And on the other side, in IT, you have something which right now is changing the way people live, actually, and we don't even understand how it works exactly. So this points me to my next question, actually. We know that in a traditional infrastructure, you have the multi-layered approach. You have perimeter defense, then you have endpoint security, you have low-level instructions which are sanitized and so on. But how does it work nowadays when we have so many distributed networks? Can we apply zero trust? Does it work? Is it something that we can apply in OT? Is it safe?
Let me tell you, I'm participating in a group of experts, and the term zero trust is on the table. And I must disappoint some people and tell them zero trust is not applicable for OT. I tell you why. Let's think about the situation that suddenly you have a major problem. You ask someone to go to the system and fix it, but he cannot fix it because the zero trust is what is zero trust? According to the definition of John Kinderwag, is always and frequently verified. You know what's the zero trust? If you invite children for the birthday party or at your home for your children, then 10 children will come and you ask them, okay, show me your ID. You check the ID. Okay, you can come in. 10 minutes later, the cake is coming, okay, the birthday cake. You say, no, show me your ID. I want to check. Because maybe your identity already changed. So the children show their ID, and you check again. And then before the children go home, everybody get a small gift, right? And you tell, no, show me your ID. I need to verify. That's zero trust. So what we did, we introduced two new terms, which are right now still in the cooking stage: limited trust and minimal trust. What does it mean? It means that the kind of zero trust is working for normal operations. And data is coming from outside to inside, okay, zero trust. But when the fire starts in the boiler, you don't have time for zero trust. You have minimal trust. Okay, to extinguish this fire, you can go in because life of people is at risk. Okay, so we require minimal trust. It's coming now. Soon I will be releasing a paper about it. But the term zero trust is never trust, always and frequently verify. It's not applicable for OT. Let me tell you another similarity to this story. If you have a zone in your OT, for example, a boiler control system, and you have PLCs that are controlling the steam and then the temperature and so on, and you have 5 PLCs, how many passwords will you have? How many in your system? Many people, the IT people, will tell you, oh, sure, every PLC username and password, right?
Yep.
Because you want to protect. But these people don't understand the principle. Why? Because if you have a problem in that area and you want to bring an expert to solve the problem in 3 minutes, you don't want to play with 15 passwords. You tell him, for that zone, that function, that process, there are 5 or 10 PLCs, all will have the same username and same password and solve me the problem. That's the difference between how IT people think and OT people think.
Mm-hmm.
Which on the one side makes security incidents easier to troubleshoot and security assessment easier to carry out on the other side. So, yeah.
Well, okay, I agree with you, but this is IT approach, okay? Let me give you the OT approach. The word easy is not bothering me. I want fast. If I bring an expert to that zone, please come in 5 minutes, show me the boiler will not explode in 5 minutes, okay? Related to the making the life of attacker easier, I tell you, if somebody will penetrate to your home in the midnight when you are not home, he will open your bedroom, your children's room, your refrigerator, everything, right? He's already there. Game over.
No time to call the police. Yeah, you need to act, yeah.
I always think about safety. If you want to protect that system, make sure that no one can penetrate there. Put a big door, a heavy door with 5 locks on the door. Make sure that no one can penetrate, and put some metal barriers on the windows so no one can penetrate through the window. You understand my thinking?
Yeah.
That's the way we are thinking about this topic, and that's what I teach the people, how they must think and how they must behave. Safety, number 1 first.
Yeah, I think that sounds logical, given that unlike software with factories and any OT infrastructure, there's lives at stake. So I think this logic is flawless, obviously. But I want to return you to the beginning of our conversation when you were telling us, how this whole OT movement, let's call it this way, started in 2010, with this whole industrial cybersecurity, right? And what is the likelihood nowadays, given the I would say, complex geopolitical situation, what is the likelihood of a ransomware attack for, let's say, an organization that's primarily have to focus on OT? What is the likelihood of this type of attack happening?
First of all, I will surprise you that many people didn't spend 5 minutes to understand what is ransomware. Ransomware is not cyber attack. Ransomware, and I will send you a paper that I wrote that OT ransomware will never happen. Maybe I already sent it to you. If not, I send it to you.
We'll publish the paper in the episode in the comments.
Yeah, we'll put it down. We'll put it in the comments, yeah.
Okay. So OT ransomware never happened by experienced expert and will never happen. Why? Why? Cyber attack will happen. Attacker penetrate to the zone, manipulate the HMI, manipulate the PLC, destroy the process, all can be done. But what is ransomware? And I've already mentioned it briefly earlier. Ransomware is a hostile action to take money. Look at this, to take money. A cyber attack is different. Ransomware is related to money, Now, why I'm so confident that OT ransomware never happened and will never happen? Very simple. Let's see that you are coming tomorrow morning to the control room of your electric company and you have the beautiful red screen, right? The beautiful red screen. Your system is encrypted. Right?
Yep.
Possible?
Yeah.
Possible? Yes, possible. Attacker will penetrate and he will encrypt the system, PLC, HMI, anything. 10 minutes later, the attacker will call you. He said, pay me so many Bitcoins and I give you an encryption key. Right?
Yep.
Decryption key.
Yep.
If he will call you, what will you do?
Just use a different control, probably. I'll stop using this control.
My advice to people is never pay. Simply, even if people will decrypt the information, that's how you're funding the cyber criminals. So my advice to people is never pay. Just stick to the culture. Try to do whatever is possible without paying the ransom.
I tell you, that definition, never pay, was beautiful 10 years ago. Today, you cannot say. Why? Because we have, triple extortion, you know this term?
Yeah.
Triple extortion. Number one, we encrypted your data, right? Oh, go ahead, I have backup, I manage. He tell you, no, I already took away your data and I'm going to publish the data. ID, credit cards, whatever, and it happened in Israel. Oh, so backup is not helping you.
Yep.
And 10 minutes, the attacker will call you. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I know the names of your lawyer, your accountant, and your insurance company. I will attack them as well because I get their details to you. So the term I will not pay is not realistic, and eventually everybody must pay something. If you don't care that your organization collapse and disappear, then you don't pay. Now, coming back to the OT. If the attacker will call me, I said, you know what? I give you $2. Go yourself, buy a coffee and a good cake and enjoy yourself. If you want to give me the decryption key, I throw it to the garbage. I said, wow, what's the story? I said, the story is very simple. I ask you, take a piece of paper and write down and sign. I am confident that if I decrypt the HMI of my power plant, the HMI will return to safe and reliable operation. And can you sign?
No.
Can you sign? No. Why? Because you don't know. You don't know what will happen. The decryption key can be 100% successful or can be 90% or 80% successful. You don't know. So we need to be, so coming back to the question, attackers will try once, get zero money. Try two, again, zero money. You know what they do? They go to the bank, to the credit card company, to the insurance company and attack them. They will not attack the operation zone of your power plant because they will not get money. If the management decide, okay, let's give them $1,000 and let's try, maybe the system will be working. I said, okay. If it's working today and tomorrow it will be exploding, possible? Yes, possible.
Yeah.
So the attack, that's the reason why OT-directed, I said OT-directed ransomware attack never happened and it's not expected to happen. It's very brave. It's very brave to say, but I convinced everyone who called me on that morning when I published that paper. So why are we talking about? I want to pass you that message that if you want to protect your customers, power plant, water, or food and beverage and so on, physical and perimeter security, network segregation, vulnerability assessment, and training, teaching. That's what you have to do. Because once those people will be knowledgeable and intelligent, they will know how to do it right and take a correct decision.
Yeah, that makes sense. And this actually is a very good leeway to my next question. In the beginning, you said there's not enough, let's call it, talent in the OT security space, right? What do you think is the reason for this? Why there's not enough people that want to actively participate in this type of security? It's not cybersecurity. I would consider it a well-paid profession. So the money is not the problem. Why people don't want to do it?
I don't know if I have the answer that will make everybody happy, but number one, organizations need to have many IT cybersecurity people because majority of the attacks are in the IT zone. So they already have 100 people for IT security. Related to the OT security, the manager will say, okay, how many attacks we got during the past year? 0. How many attacks we got during the past 2 years, 3 years? 1. So probably let's take the IT people and let them handle the OT zone as well. And I can tell you in many countries, including in my country, which is crazy about cybersecurity, many organizations allow the IT people to handle the OT zone, and they are, in many cases, they are taking decisions which spend a lot of money, not effective, and in worst case, incident may happen, and they said, wow, what can I do?
Mm-hmm. And this is because of is this because of the, let's say, this type of different way of thinking, for example, in our cybersecurity team, obviously the system being back up is probably one of the most important things usually. And with you, human safety probably is the biggest priority, right? We have a core priority difference.
Well, I think that the major problem is that management do not understand cyber risks. And I can tell you, I proposed to some people a beautiful idea. Don't talk about cyber risk. Why? If you talk to the manager of that power plant on the water company or the food Coca-Cola factory about cybersecurity, he said, number one, I don't understand your language. I don't understand what you are talking about. Number two, you are going to take my money because you want to take my money, right? Number three, you don't provide any guarantee that that your solution will protect my plant. So why to talk about? I have a better idea. Talk about assurance of business operation continuity. Business operation continuity. And I can tell you, when we think, how many type of problems you can think about? Okay, not too many. I send you a paper about it, correctly understanding cybersecurity risks, okay? Problem number one is a failure. Sensor, PLC, software, can it fail tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
Yes, right?
Yeah, of course.
Everything. Your refrigerator at home can fail tomorrow morning, okay? Number two, incorrect action by authorized person. Incorrect action. You have your engineer, you send him to do this tuning, he's thinking about his girlfriend that was upset yesterday, and he's making a mistake.
Yep.
Okay? Number three, can be internal sabotage by intention. Your employee was expecting 10% upgrade salary increase, but he didn't receive it because the boss don't like him. So he's going to do some sabotage, right? Can you prevent it? Not so much. And number four, cyber attack. How many types of cyber attacks are possible? Very simple, three. Only three. Internally generated cyber attack. You put a USB like Stuxnet to one of the machines. Number two, externally generated cyber attack like Ukraine in 2015, right? It was external, somebody sent the Excel file. And number three, supply chain. Supply chain related attack. It's the biggest problem. Why? Because you don't have people. You have one organization in the city that have some good people. They are managing all the water systems, the electric system. You outsource the expertise.
Yep.
Okay? Supply chain. Or you buy a PLC and somebody sold you a PLC with malware in the operating system. So these are the problems, okay? These are the problems. I said, the failure is the biggest problem. When you are driving your car, what's the most probably can happen? A flat tire, right? And you need to be prepared how you replace the flat tire, and you teach your children, your wife, how to replace a tire, because it can happen for any reason. And that's training.
Yep, makes sense.
Let me ask a provocative question. Since you mentioned PLC with embedded malware, we know that Israel has one of the best cybersecurity experts in the world, one of the best experts developing malware. So what's your personal opinion? We know that there is a war right now. There is actually few different wars out there in the world, unfortunately. But is it possible that there is some very well-crafted malware which allows some government agencies to get access to some power plants, for example, let's say to some organizations for oil and gas, some critical infrastructure facilities? Because I assume, let's say I cannot know for sure, I don't have this official information, but it's widely spoken, everybody, even every single kid knows that the government agencies, they have access to specifically crafted exploits, very specially designed exploits, which allow them to get access to the power grid, for example, when they want to do it. So is this happening? I assume you don't know as well, but maybe you have more knowledge than me on this subject matter. Maybe a lot of the cyber incidents, they remain uncovered because nobody wants to talk about them.
So, many people are like to say, well, there are many more cyber attacks than you can imagine. And I say, let's talk about what we defined as an OT-directed cyber attack. And many incidents that may happen are not even reported. And, for example, you read in the newspaper that in your power plant, a transformer exploded and the city don't have now power. Was it cyber related? What is a failure related? What is a sabotage related? Or what is just a mistake related? You don't know. We don't know. And I tell you, for example, let's say that you are sitting in the control room and suddenly your screen turned to black for 10 seconds. You look at the screen, black. After 10 seconds, the screen come back, everything is good. What are you going to do? You don't have time to investigate for sure, because in 10 seconds you cannot even make a phone call. So you are not reporting, but maybe this was the beginning of a cyber attack. That 5 seconds was the beginning of cyber. So many people do not define what is an OT-directed cyber attack. And what I did, usually, I wrote a definition. Is it perfect? No. Everybody agreed to that? No. But I had to do, it's better to have a definition than having no definition. Okay? I said OT-directed cyber attack is an intentional action to harm the process and to cause safety-related or damage-related or human risk-related incident. That's the OT side. When you take this definition, you say, wow, now I understand. Yes, Stuxnet was a OT-directed. Remember Ukraine 2015, you know that case, right? In the Christmas, the 25th of December, the Russian, someone sent the Excel file. The Excel file went to the control room. The control room opened the Excel file because every day he received the Excel file, and the entire city was out of power in 5 minutes. It was an externally generated cyber attack. So if you go to ChatGPT or to any study, not by commercial company, by a respected study, tell me all the OT-directed cyber incidents which harm the process of the organization. You will see a short list. I don't know 20, I don't know 30, but that's it. Why? Because nobody's making money out of it. If in your city you have an attacker from his bedroom is attacking the water company of your city, he will make money out of it? No. He will tell his friends, oh, you heard about this water problem? That was me. I did it. Okay, good. But he will not make money. Cyber attacks are usually money-driven. Mm-hmm. And that's, we need to understand the principle. Once we understand principles, you can make a decision. Are you going to put an IDS? You are going to put an IPS? By the way, IPS, intrusion prevention system, can you use it in OT zone?
It very much depends, because most of the attacks for OT are actually 0 days. They would go undetected. You don't even have signatures for those. You cannot, IPS works with signature-based detection. So even if you have a way to place somehow the IPS inside the closed OT environment and make it collect the information about the signatures to refresh the database on a daily basis, like connect to internet and source the information for the new vulnerabilities, even so, I think most of the OT attacks, due to their nature, they will remain undetected. Nobody knows about them.
Well, I tell you, when we are analyzing OT attacks, we are talking about communication-oriented anomaly behavior, communication-oriented, or we are talking about process-oriented anomaly behavior, okay? And you can detect it by IDS, intrusion detection system. You can quickly detect it, but what's the problem? The problem is that if you detect it, you can do a report to the control room. But can you shut down? Because IPS is shut down, intrusion prevention, we shut down the system. No, you are not allowed to do it. Why? Because sometimes the shutdown may cause more damage than the attack itself. So the only time I will allow to shut down a system if I am worried about life of people.
Okay.
You know, at your home, ask your mother when she's baking a cake, what you are not allowed to do. You know, remember?
Stop the oven.
Open the door. Why you cannot open the door? Because the cake will collapse. Now, why am I mentioning this story? Because opening the door of the oven is intervention. When you do an intervention into a process, you have no idea what will happen. No idea. Okay? So don't open the door of the oven when you are baking a cake, because you don't know. Why you don't know? Because if you open it at the first 2 minutes, maybe nothing will happen. If you open it in the last 10 minutes or 3 minutes of the baking, nothing will happen. But anywhere between, you don't know what will happen. And maybe it will collapse, damage, and so on. So you see the way how you asked me at the beginning, tell me the difference between the OT and IT. Yeah. And I'm telling you, very simple. We think differently. We think business impact analysis. What can happen? That's the way we think.
All right. And last thing that I wanted to ask you is, if someone wants to become a, let's say, OT security professional, what does the career path look like? What should you study? There's a lot of young people right now. Obviously, you know, job market is not great in IT. And a lot of people might want to reconsider a different type of career. What would be your advice to them?
I tell you, first of all, people need to have some knowledge in the IT systems, okay? IT security, IT operation, number one. Second, more critical, you must understand the process. If you want to work in a power plant, first of all, learn what is a power plant. What happens in every place in the power plant? If you want to be an expert for water desalination or sewage treatment, learn the process. Understand what is sewage treatment, right? It's the process. It's a chemical process. It's a lot of things happen there. You must understand it. Second, take a training class from an expert. That's what I'm doing. 16 hours, 24 hours, 30 hours. And what we are discussing in 1 hour, and now in 1.5 hours, okay? That's what I'm doing for 24 hours or 30 hours. Bring slides, explain people, teach them what is encryption, how it is work, what is IDS, what is SIEM, what is SOC, how to conduct perimeter security. All these things slowly, beautifully I explain, and I can tell you that people who learn this type of class, and I'm not telling you to take any internet type class that's free or $10. It's no. But I can tell you, if you manage to organize a class in your country and you bring people for 3-4 days, I can tell you they will be happy. They may not become experts, but they will understand what they need to know, what they don't know, and that's the only way. That's the only way. And as I said, next week I start a class of 32 hours frontal and 8 hours in a lab, like demonstration and so on. And people will learn. And I can tell you, after this class, they will have different opinion about things. They will know how to decide about correct actions.
So something here for our audience. If you guys like what you see and what you hear, please like and subscribe to the channel. And also please follow Dan, who is a great expert in OT security, very extremely knowledgeable guy. Dan, thank you very much for the participation and for sharing this knowledge with us. Also, if you guys are interested in OT security, let us know in the comments what exactly is the most interesting part for you. Have you seen the borders exploding? Have you heard of any cyber attacks which remained undetected? Please let us know.
Yep, and I would also say, Dan, looking forward to speaking with you again soon. I personally learned a lot of things today. OT security is something very, very distant to me, but I believe that in Europe specifically, with what we are aiming for right now for resource independence and for industrial growth, I think this will become an ever-growing topic here, and I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see you here on the ground very soon, giving your expertise to people who want to build resilient factories here in the European Union. And I want to thank you, Dan, and good luck in your future endeavors. Bye, everyone, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you very much, and I hope you will take this profession seriously and you will come to learn.
Thank you, Dan.
See you in the next episode.
All right, thank you.